Good evening, this is Keith All, and in today's tutorial we're going to learn how to slide an overlay on an image hover using CSS and HTML. So what do I mean by a slide an overlay on an image hover? So over here on the left hand screen I got my browser open and you have this image. So watch what happens when I hover over the image. And what you saw there, it was an overlay, meaning that it's semi-transparent and I'm overlaying content over that image. So let's see how this is actually done. So here on the right hand side I have my CSS and HTML editor open. So if I go to the index file, let's hover over this. Okay, so on the right hand side you see the index file, and if you look at the body tag, you will see we have multiple divs. In the first div I have a class named container, so that will hold everything. And then there's an image tag, and that image tag defines what image will be displayed. So that's what you see on the left hand side of the screen right now. You see this image of this family with a Christmas tree. Then now we have another div within the div class of container. So the second div, I named the class overlay. And then I have an H2 tag within that div, and that's what we see here. We have a border, and then the H2 tag has Christmas. And also notice that when I hover over the image, the cursor turns into a pointer. So I'll show you how I do that within the CSS file. So let's go over to the CSS file. Now remember, let's scroll up. So the body tag has a background color of F1, 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 and that's what we see here. It's basically white. So the margin of the body is set at 0 and the padding set at 0. So this is why the image, there's no padding anywhere, and it's set all the way up to the top left. So there's nothing, there's no spaces between the image and the outside borders or of the body of the browser. So now let's go down to the container class. So if we go back to the index file, I am now going to style the container class. So let's go over here. So basically the container, again, it holds the image and the other div. So I'm setting the width and height to 600 and 400 pixels. Position is relative, and the cursor, here's that cursor. The cursor is set to pointer within this div. So once I get in within that container class, the pointer changes to a hand instead of an arrow. Now again, let's go over the container hover pseudo event. And I'm going to be styling the overlay, basically. So right now, when I hover over the image, okay, the overlay class, which is right here, which shows the Christmas H2 tag, is the width now is going to be set to 600 pixels. And you'll see in a little bit, initially when we load the page, the width is set to 0 for this particular class, which is within a div tag. So now we're styling the image tag, which is this guy right here. Okay. Now, the width of that image, we're going to set to the width of 600, the height 400 pixels. So in other words, the width of this image will fall within that container class. And again, the container is set to the same width and height as the image. So now we're styling the overlay class, which is this class here, which is this div sits within the main div container. So let's go down here. So again, what I said before, when we initially load the page, the overlay class, the width is set to 0, but the height is still set at 400 pixels. And it's invisible to our eyes right now. So it's basically way past the border boundaries of the web page. So the background color of this overlay class is going to be set using the RGBA function. And the parameters for it, the last parameters of this function sets the opacity of it. So when we hover over this, the opacity is semi-transparent. We could see through whatever color that we style it, and we can see the image behind it. So these first three parameters set the color, which is this purple color there, and the position is set to absolute. Again, the top margin, 0, it means that 0 pixels from the top of that div. And of course, justified content is going to center the content within that div or within this class, and it's going to center it horizontally. Align items will center it vertically. So in other words, you could see that this border and this H2 tag is centered horizontally within this whole div, and it's centered vertically, okay, within here. So what this overflow hidden does, so watch what happens if I don't have this overflow hidden. So let's do that. Let's reload the page. You can see the H2 tag, which is with set to overlay class. The H2 tag, so in other words, when I load the page, some of that content within that class and div shows up here, which is something I don't want to happen. So what initially we set it to overflow hidden. Let's reload the page, and you can see that it goes away. So the transition now, again, the transition basically is this speed of this hovering when it comes out. So to overlay H2 tag, again, here I'm styling the color of the text to be white, the font size to be 50 pixels, the border around it, I set the border to be 6 pixels. This is how white it is, and it's going to be a solid border, and the color of that border is going to be white, and the padding is going to be 10 pixels by 30 pixels. So in other words, the padding property here, the first part of this is the top and bottom padding, and the second part refers to the right and left padding. So that's what that does. So hopefully this gave you an idea on how you could create an effect like this. And remember to subscribe to my channel. I do multiple videos a week, and I do them on Photoshop, CSS, HTML, and of course digital marketing platform I use, which is called Builderall. So look for those tutorials also. And I want to thank you for stopping by today. I'll see you on the next video. And please like, share, and comment. I'd appreciate it. Thanks again for supporting my channel. And I'll see you again on the next video. Bye now.